one is the National Board of Review as well. These ones are a very big indicator, and I don't have the stats in front of me in terms of what's in their top movies gets to the best picture, but it's a very high amount that are in this list in front of me versus actually what makes that best picture nominees at the end of the year or at the start of next year. So their top 10 films for the year. Now, this is not including the best film winner. So the best film winner was Killers of the Flower Moon. But the other top 10 films is Barbie, The Boy and the Heron, Ferrari, The Holdovers, The Iron Claw, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, and Poor Things. So this kind of really diversifies things because what do we have? We have The Boy and the Heron, Ferrari, The Iron Claw joining this mix now compared to the AFI one we just talked about just before. So very strong, yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing Ferrari tomorrow, so we can actually see.
Is it tomorrow or is it Tuesday?
One of the days.
One of the days.
One of those days. Tomorrow or Tuesday, we're seeing Ferrari, so we can gauge and see if that is actually going to live up to the hype.
Yeah.
We've also got the Iron Claw on Wednesday, which I can't make, which I'm so gutted because I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's at like 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they did mention something about like a Saturday night thing, so I'll try to see what time that is. And
Wait,
try.
did they?
Pretty sure on the email it said something about 1 in the morning and 1 at night on the 16th.
Of January.
Oh, was it January? I thought it was December.
It was January. That's why I was like, oh, come.
Oh, fuck.
Calling sick.
I wish I could.
Yeah.
If it wasn't already paid for this course. What was the other one? Oh, The Boy and the Heron. Yeah. We saw that. We're still trying to process that film.
We'll have our review up for it soon. So, yeah.
But yeah, they're all strong contenders, just basing off the trailers for Ferrari and Iron Claw as well. They look fantastic, both films.
Yeah.
And by the end of the week, I think we should have a really good idea on what will be the top 10.
Yeah, because I'll be going to that the Iron Claw screening. I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, I got a very lucky chance to see it very early because it comes out, I think, end of the month in January.
Yeah.
Classic New Zealand timing with these movies. Zone of Interest comes out, I think, in March, something for us.
Oh.
It's ridiculous.
Does it not come out on streaming or?
I think it's video on demand. It's meant to be this month, from what I've heard.
Okay.
But I don't know if that's confirmed or not. But yeah, going back to the Zone of Interest, not here either.
Not here either.
Those reviews are really good, but I'm not hearing anything in terms of...
Maybe it's a bit overhyped. Maybe.
It might have been really overhyped by, critics, because critics aren't, voters and stuff. So it could really drop out of the race. Like, there's not many spots. The Color Purple, by the way, we have our review for The Color Purple all ready to go. Everything is ready for it, but I still haven't heard an embargo date.
Oh, yeah, that's true, eh?
Yeah, but that movie was really good, and I'm very surprised I'm not hearing it.
Yeah, because most years, there's always a musical in the mix of some sort, whether it's In the Heights or West Side Story. There's always a musical, and this is the only notable musical that's released this year. Notable. I said notable. That's released this year, so it's real shocking to see it be excluded from both lists because it was a really fantastic movie.
Yeah, and the only thing's missing from that list is, American Fiction. I don't think December didn't get in either. So, we're in for a stacked year. I don't know who makes 10 nominees, honestly. And in terms of animated movies, The Boy and the Heron in this one, Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that didn't make the other one. I don't know what movie's going to win animated. I really thought Across for
it's
months.
It's between one of those two, I reckon.
100%.
What, between Across and Boy and the Heron?
Yeah. Unless Elemental makes some surprise thing, but I doubt that.
Well, you know what's surprising me is that, when you look at the stats, the Zone of Interest is astronomical. It's reception,
exactly.
It has a Metacritic score of 94, which is, I think Killers of the Flower Moon is 88.
Yeah,
it's above everything by a huge margin, and even its RT score was extremely good.
Yeah, and the average rating in that as well is very high.
So it's just everything pointing to it being an absolutely flawless movie, but for whatever reason, it's just not receiving. We get to see it, but it's not receiving that sort of reaction that we expected.
Yeah,
and then I am looking at these, and you do see this the same trend of movies, at least. We're seeing, Poor Things, Past Lives, Oppenheimer, and Killers. And that seems to be the core group at this time that have like almost locked in the top 4 or top 5 or whatever.
What ones did you say, sorry?
Poor Things, Past Lives, Oppenheimer, and Killers.
I would say Barbie as well. Not a serious contender to win.
I don't think it's a serious.
Nominated,
yeah.
I think it's almost pretty much locked in.
Yeah. It seems to just be like in there, but I don't think it's like, it's going to be one of those movies where it gets like, 9 nominations and then wins nothing.
I think, it might win
It might win like production or
costuming. Makeup and hairstyling perhaps. I also would chuck Maestro to be like an almost lock for a nomination as well. But even the reviews are mildish for it. I think it's between 80 and 85.
Yeah.
So not like something like Zone of Interest. Yeah, very interesting. But the National Border Review, they also do like actual awards, like one winner for things. So best film, obviously Killers of the Flower Moon, which I think's won every precursor for picture so far.
Because it won New York last week.
Yeah, it won New York. I think it won Atlanta Film Critics Circle Awards as well. I think there's another one, but yeah, it seems to be that. Also, Best Director, Martin Scorsese won for Killers of the Flower Moon. It might be his year. Nolan's... In terms, I think, for director, I would say those two are really your only two options.
Yeah.
Yorgos, maybe?
Yeah, we can probably judge better when we do see Poor Things, but at this stage, I think it is that. Or maybe Maestro, Bradley Cooper, if it's absolutely fantastic. Similar to A Star Is Born, then he
probably
could be a little dark
the nomination. Yeah, Celine Song could be a really surprising ad in there.
Yeah.
Imagine that first film ever winning Best Picture.
And then we saw her for the Q&A. She watched with us, so that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it would be cool by next year. Best actor, Paul Giamatti in the Holdovers. Me and Nayan saw this last week. It was a bit too heavy to just review that one instantly, and we had Born on the next night, so a lot of these heavy movies, but we're going to have a review up for it. But you've seen the Holdovers, you've seen Paul Giamatti's performance. Is it worthy considering Leo's come this year, Cillian's been this year?
I think they are definitely the top 3, for sure.
Yeah.
I think I would rate Cillian over Leo, just because Leo's performance is like, we've seen it a lot of times, and like it's just safe.
Yeah.
Where Cillian actually like did a fantastic job. I think Giamatti is above them both. I think he was.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, I think he was absolutely fantastic in this. Just like little things that he does with his speech and the way he acts, and just the way the way his character progressed throughout that film, and the way that he brought that to life, I think was
it's so compelling.
so good.
Yeah. It's like Holdovers is just it's one of those movies where they just feel so real. They're so real, and the writing is amazing.
Yeah, it's very like super raw writing and realistic writing.
But Bradley Cooper Maestro is also a player here as well.
Yeah.
He looks very good. That's one that we should see soon. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to catch flack for this because I'm not seeing Maestro yet.
Here we go.
But it does a little bit. If you were to pick a movie this year that has that Oscar baity energy, I would pick Maestro.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we know these movies, and it doesn't take away how good they are or what they do, but though there are those Oscar bait movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's always like based on a real story, and it's just
it's like black and white and trying to be raw and all these sorts of things.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't say something like Killers or Oppenheimer or anything like that are just straight Oscar bait.
Yeah, they're not straight Oscar bait.
Maestro has to be the one.
That's the Oscar bait movie of the year. Yeah.
I don't know what else really good. The Holdovers kind of because it is it's very similar to Manchester by the Sea, just the way things play out in that. That one could be, but it's
I didn't think Manchester by the Sea was Oscar bait, but
maybe now.
Maybe now because it's sort of like set a precedent, and then other movies try to sort of do it.
Yeah, but it is very good. Watch Holdovers as soon as you can. That is out on streaming too now, I believe, as well.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you can catch that one very soon. And before we do our top 10s.
Yes.
Best Actress, Lily Gladstone, Killers of the Flower Moon.
She won New York last week as well, right?
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she's tearing up everything.
Is she a lock, is she?
Oh, it appears to be. She's getting close to being like a lock for me in terms of winning the category.
That's surprising because I always thought after seeing May December, Natalie Portman was clear front runner. just by that one scene, that mirror scene that she does. So it's quite surprising not to see her name get more recognition.
Yeah, I honestly think this is one of the most stacked categories, and it almost seems like Lily Gladstone is taking it out. Like, Carey Mulligan, from what I've heard in Maestro, is incredible. And same with Emma Stone. I've heard it's Emma Stone's best performance, and that she's in line for another Oscar.
Man.
Yeah, and then you have the Natalie Portman. You also got Margaret Robbie, Greta Lee from Past Lives, Fantasia Barrino from The Color Purple. She was amazing. Yeah. Even Sandra Hüller in Anatomy of a Fall.
Wow, so it looks like the female category is going to be a hard one this year.
Yeah.
Whereas I personally feel like is the male so far is relatively, it might be the top two that's hard to decide between, but I think
actresses, there's like at least 8 that could
like deserve to win.
Yeah,
you know. Whereas like with the actors, there's maybe like 3 that deserve to win, and like 1 standout. You know.
Yeah, but it just seems like Lily Gladstone is taking everything. And it'll be interesting to see what you think about that, because at least in my perspective, it doesn't feel like a lead performance. It is supporting performance, in my opinion.
Yeah.
She's amazing. She's really, really good. I just wish she was campaigning for supporting. Otherwise, Best Supporting Actor is Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Best Supporting Actress was Davine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers. Yeah. Now, I mean, I might save it for the review. Oh, well, I'll say it now. I thought she was good, not amazing, not...
Me too. I think Danielle Brooks is way better.
Yeah, 100%. And I just don't think Davine Joy Randolph, she was really good in what she was in, but just didn't do much.
Yeah.
And there's that moment in the movie where she's great, but it's very short.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm very surprised that she seems to be the front runner for this category so far.
Because she won New York last week as well.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. So yeah, she's getting a lot of that as well. I think supporting actress is quite high. What do you guys think about Julianne Moore being nominated? Would that one be?
I'm actually a little bit. I don't know whether to bank on Natalie Portman being the best in this or Julianne Moore. I mean, I probably would lean on Julianne Moore. But Natalie Portman was almost just as superb.
So you think Julianne Moore's better?
I think she is better.
Interesting. I would go the other way around.
Only because she's playing a far more difficult character to play with a lot more eccentricities to her. She's a manipulator. She's a bad person, and there are things you can see behind her masks, and you're wondering. Yeah. Whereas with Natalie Portman, I feel like her role is a lot more kind of simple.
Until the end, where it starts to like unravel.
Yeah.
But yeah, you are right. And if you guys ever get the time, watch the kind of the real life couple of what that movie is. Really weird, but like they play them so well.
No doubt.
Yeah. And Charles Melton as well. I mean, he won the New York award for Best Supporting Actor.
He was brilliant.
He was really, really good. And I think Best Supporting Actor is very stacked. You know, we got Mark Ruffalo here for Poor Things. We also got Robert Downey Jr. and Ryan Gosling, who tied at the Atlanta Film Critics Circle Awards. And then Robert De Niro is also a player in this. Yep. Willem Dafoe in Poor Things as well. Really interesting category there.
I must say there would be something a little hurtful about. This is not to discount Gosling, but there would be something hurtful about Robert Downey Jr. losing to Ken.
Why?
Well, because
just because of the roles.
Yeah, just because the roles, they're so starkly, one's so starkly serious and the other is so, like, deeply comedic and, like, you know, throw it out the window, sort of like whatever.
Yeah, it's such a weird, like, for them to tie.
Yeah.
Like, imagine being like Robert Downey Jr., like, I put everything into this role.
Your soul in. That's not to say that Gosling didn't. You know, it requires a great level of skill to portray that sort of, like, goofiness.
Yeah,
But you can almost see why like an Oscar voter would be inclined to just pick the more serious thing.
100%.
Just because it's more serious.
Yeah.
Which is like a silly thing to judge anything by. It's like you should be judging all categories and all genres and all styles of media with the same level of like criticism.
Yeah, and they don't really do that.
They don't
completely.
So we need to, you know, I respect that Gosling as Ken is
getting consideration. Yeah, no, and man, I saw something on Twitter. I think Grace Randolph, you know that critic there. Yeah, she was like rooting for Ryan Gosling, and then someone's like, "Oh, what about Robert Downey Jr.?" And she's like, "Oh, personally, I thought Robert Downey Jr. was awful." And I'm like, yeah, and I'm like, I can't comprehend any kind of reality where I can watch Oppenheimer and be like, "Oh yeah, he was awful." I could see someone being like, "Oh yeah, seen that role before," or something like that. But like,
Or you could compliment
awful.
someone like, "Yeah, it was kind of boring." Like, I didn't really get his character. Like, you can get that, but like straight up bad. Yeah,
Not bad, awful.
Awful's
yeah.
like the worst you could get for a phone. Just some of the stuff I see on Twitter. I know it's all subjective, but sometimes it's just not subjective. And those are like those examples there. The screenplay ones, it was David Hemmingson for The Holdovers, winning Best Original Screenplay, and then Tony McNamara for Poor Things for Adapted Screenplay. So some strong screenplays there. We haven't seen Poor Things, obviously, but again, when you're going to have all these Best Picture potential nominees, you get stacked with like really good screenplay categories as well. Poor Things winning is interesting. I've heard very divisive stuff about that movie so far in terms of whether it's Best Picture material or not. So the screenplay win is interesting. Holdovers, not too surprising.
I think it's rightly deserved.
Yeah.
Holdovers.
It would December be... It would be adapted, because it's based on a real life thing.
It would be... I guess it would be adapted. I don't know.
Yeah, I never know the eligibility. Like Barbie's original screenplay.
What?
Yeah, it's exactly. It makes sense.
But then again, it's not adapted from anything. It's just...
It's adapted from the franchise. Like, Barbie's a made character.
And there's Barbie movies as well.
Yeah, and it uses like... Yeah, and Ken, like the source material for the character's already there. It's not original characters.
Did you say Poor Things was adapted?
Yes.
What's that? Is that like a book or something?
I think it's like a novel. Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I think it is a fine line.
Yeah, it's really interesting kind of conversation. Otherwise, the animated battle continues with Across the Spider-Verse winning this one. Which is really weird because The Boy and the Heron got in their top 10 films of the year, but Spider-Verse wins animated.
Yeah.
But The Boy and the Heron was on their best ones of the year. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
They probably just did like, oh yeah, we could give one to the other and split them. Obviously, best directorial debut, that obviously goes to Celine Song, Past Lives. Best international film was Anatomy of a Fall. Don't worry about that because France didn't submit Anatomy of a Fall as their international feature. They chose The Taste of Things. So, yeah, best cast ensemble, The Iron Claw.
That makes sense.
That's a little surprising.
But then I would expect Barbie to also be in that.
Barbie to be in that. Oppenheimer to be in that.
Oppenheimer is a big one.
Yeah. The Color Purple would be a big one. I mean, yeah, the Iron Claw taken out is quite interesting. Even I think
the Iron Claw is actually a good pick as well because when you do think about maybe something like Oppenheimer, while it is a fantastic cast, Nolan's using his star power to just get whoever he wants.
But the Iron Claw is like very... They're not all A-listers.
Yeah, they're not A-listers, but it's like they're also all the kinds of like actors that you want to see on screen right now, and you're like dying to see together.
That's very true. I do like that pick a lot.
I think maybe because Iron Claw as well, all the major casters, they are heavily featured in the movie. Where someone like I don't know, say Oppenheimer, they were in it for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, like a few seconds here or something.
Iron Claw seems to have like a strong core assemble, like for the majority of the film.
I also know that there's a wrestler in it as well, acting as one of the Von Erichs.
Yeah. The other thing I would say, I think May December should be considered for that. And
I actually really agree with that. I think that was a great ensemble cast.
Yeah, and what's the one? The Holdovers as well, because it introduces Dominic Sessa, his first role, which is the kid.
I think he should be up for at least a supporting nom.
At least being considered. He's very good, and it's his first role ever.
And because his role is very similar to Paul Giamatti's, where you can see the character change throughout the film.
Progression, and they're very similar in their ways. Yeah. No, very good. So, best cast ensemble. That needs to be an Oscar category, by the way. I love it. And then achievement is very interesting. Achievement in cinematography. It's a very interesting one because it goes to Rodrigo Prieto, who did Barbie and Killers of the Flower Moon.
Wait, what did he do?
Barbie and Killers of the Flower Moon.
No, like what was his what category?
Cinematography.
Cinematography. Wow.
Yeah, so he's won for both of those. I don't know if I don't know if the movie's tied or like he should
Just
be.
him?
Yeah, he should be selected based on what movie.
I would say Killers is a better looking film compared to Barbie, but Barbie did have some interesting shots.
I mean, Barbie's like cinematography was so. I don't know if I would say necessarily cinematography, but its production at least was so stark that it basically created a new style. I don't want to say style, but it had such a massive impact.
Yeah,
that more people have started wearing pink.
Yeah,
it's had that much of an impact.
But yeah, it just feels like they just selected the cinematographer, and then he's eligible for both those movies. So
yeah,
if you're going to combine both those movies, then obviously he's going to win. Like Hoyt van Hoytema for Oppenheimer, he just has that one movie.
Yeah.
I don't really know what else. It hasn't really been the strongest of years for cinematography.
No,
not one where like even Oppenheimer, like it's shot well, but it's not like oh my god, like this is like blowing me away.
Even Asteroid City, because usually Wes Anderson films are quite featured in cinematography, right?
I don't know about cinematography. It's a mix of his production because he's just very symmetrical, but it's still like static shots. But yeah, he can be. It really depends on the movies. Asteroid City is nowhere to be seen on any of this stuff, sadly.
Surprising.
I still haven't seen it.
Haven't you?
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
No.
No? Oh.
I didn't hate it, but it wasn't as good as what I thought it would be.
Right.
I can see where the critics are coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Khyan? Did you ever get around to it?
I never watched it, but I did watch the one with Benedict Cumberbatch.
The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did watch that one. It was only 40 minutes long, but I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it. I just thought, yeah.
It's the front runner for best short film. Live action. Yeah. Which is probably what I'll watch as well. Yeah, it's my goal this year to watch everything that's been nominated, even like documentary short. I'm gonna watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because then when I do these projections, it just makes it a little bit more valid, I think.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.